Good afternoon, everyone. Thought I'd do a video on Catholics and why they use incense. And my family, we actually use incense at home during our prayer time, sometimes. So I just wanted to show what we have. I wanted to get into this first. When I had initially bought this, I didn't really know how to use incense. I bought it at a place called the Padre Pio Foundation of America in Connecticut. Really nice little Catholic store. And there are certain ways you have to use this and knowing what you're doing when you're using it. So mine right here has a nice little cross on the top of it. And it was about $25. So this opens up at the top over here. The first thing you have to do, because I had to do a lot of research to find out how to do this right and a lot of really good YouTube videos. I just wanted to mix it all together so nobody has the same problems that I did. The first thing you have to do is you do have to add a little, and one this size, I put stones in it along the bottom. And I haven't seen a video on putting stones in the bottom, but it's actually important because when you light your charcoal briquette and you put it on top of those stones get heated up and the oxygen keeps moving through and it keeps it lit. Because as soon as you close this, that briquette's going to go out in about a minute or two when you're done using it, because the heat's going to last about 40 minutes. So I bought these from Amazon. These are packs of briquettes. It comes with, I think, 10 or 12 packs in them, and each of these contains about 10 briquettes. This is the briquette right here. So let's get this bad boy lit. And this is how you activate the briquette. You just get yourself a lighter or a match. I saw somebody on the YouTube video actually use you put it on his stove, and you don't have to do that. I mean, all you have to do is just light it to activate it. And there it goes. You see how, so this is going to move all the way down. It takes about a minute or so for these sparkles to move all the way through. Looks like something didn't catch here. Let's try it again. Alright, and what I do is just pick it up before it gets all the way to the end there, and you just drop it on top of the stones inside of the container, your heating container, because this is made out of metal. This is going to heat up really, really hot in a couple of minutes. You're not going to want to put any of your incense on until this charcoal briquette is activated, and you actually want to give it a couple of minutes to heat up. When it starts turning white in color, it's ready to go. So Catholics, we're known to be using smells and bells. That's a term that I like to actually hear. And I'm actually a member of 2 parishes. And one of the parishes we've been going to, my family's been going to one on Sundays, and it uses incense at every single Mass. And it really brings you forth. God gave us senses to use, and Catholics use that during Mass. Some churches don't use incense. Other times they use it only during certain times of the year. They always use it during holy hours if the Blessed Sacrament is exposed, or Easter time is a popular time to use it, like at the Easter Vigil. To me, incense brings me back to my childhood. Whenever I went to Mass, we would go to the Vigil Mass, which was the day before Easter, the night before Easter, and Mass wasn't able to start until sundown. So it was the only time of the year we went, and it was nighttime at Mass. Just a really cool feel, just that on its own. And then they would use incense during the Mass, and it had a very sweet smell to it. To me, it's the smell of a holiday, and it's a nostalgic smell to me. It's a wonderful thing to get you closer to God, and that's the point of the incense, to use that senses. If you're zoning out during Mass ever, or you're getting bored, once that incense is used and you smell it, it just kind of brings you right back. And then with the smells, and then the sight, you can use your sense of sight, and when the incense is put in, you actually see smoke arising once the incense is put in, because the heat is heating up the incense, and then you see the smoke go up, and it's like right out of the book of Revelation, where you see our prayers ascending to heaven. So God hears our prayers. So it's not used all the time. You don't have to use it. It's just something that is a neat thing to use because you get to use your senses. And I say it, as long as incense gets you closer to God and gets you more in the prayer zone, there's zero problem with using it. Catholics also have that bell that goes off at Mass during the consecration. That bell is, if you're zoned out and you hear that bell go off, that's a reminder to you, zone in here, you got to regain your focus. This is Jesus truly present in the Eucharist. This is important. Jesus is truly here. So Catholics are not afraid to use their senses. Smells and bells, that's a term that I heard. So you can see here, if you give it a few minutes, it starts to get white in color. You do not want to touch anything around this at this point because it is very, very hot unless you want to end up going to the hospital with a pretty bad burn. So here's the incense that I like to use. I'm going to give this another minute to heat up. The incense that I like to use, I bought this at the Padre Pio Foundation of America as well. This is the type of incense that they sell. Pure incense granules, Majesty. This one is actually frankincense and myrrh. Hey, right out of the Bible, right? What did the three wise men give? It does not come with much myrrh in here. The yellow ones that you see are the frankincense. But the one that I like to use is just the myrrh, not frankincense and myrrh, just the myrrh. It has a darker color to it, and to me it has a sweeter smell, a sweeter odor to it. I was just reading the Gospel of John last night, and when Jesus was put into the tomb, Nicodemus brought myrrh with him. And now that I know what myrrh smells like, I know what's going on there. And it just brings me even deeper into the gospel, which is pretty cool. So it was $25 to buy this right here. I got to be careful touching this, but I just want to point it out. The heater. Drop stones in the bottom of it to let that oxygen flow go through. That way this gets heated up. Because if you just drop it in all by itself with no stones down there, the briquette just goes off on its own after about 5 minutes. If you just leave it like this, it's going to stay on for about 40 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes. As soon as you close this lid, it's going to turn off within a couple of minutes because you're not letting oxygen go through. So it was $25, and the incense that they sell there, it's $6 a piece, and depending on how often you use it, it should be able to last you quite a while. So I think we're ready now. We're going to open this up. It comes with these little packets in it to keep it fresh and whatnot. So we'll grab one granule, one little incense granule here. And this is going to last you a few minutes. Just because the smoke stops on this after it burns up, it doesn't mean the smell is going to go away. It's going to keep on giving you an aroma. So you don't have to smoke the place out by constantly adding more incense. So I'm going to put this on top of the briquette now. And it is going to start smoking soon. And then you're going to get a smell a minute or two after it starts up. So I had seen in another video that somebody put sand along the bottom of it instead of rocks. But I don't know how effective that is. I've never tried it. All I did was drop a few stones in here, and ever since then it's been great. So you can see it. The heat, how it's melting it a bit. This is actually really useful. My wife and I, we have YouTube on our TV. You could either use like a Roku or a smart TV or something like that. And on YouTube, if you put in a search of live perpetual adoration, there's always going to be a church somewhere that has their adoration being broadcast with the Blessed Sacrament exposed. So we put that on the TV, and then we put this in front of it, and we'll say our rosary together at night, and we have our intentions, and it's like our intentions are being lifted up from the incense, just like in the book of Revelation. It just brings you into the zone. You're seeing the Blessed Sacrament on the TV screen, and you're smelling the incense. You're seeing the smoke go up. It's really quite something. to pray with it. Oh man, I'm getting a nice odor from it right now. The myrrh gives off a really nice aroma. So now I know that when Nicodemus brought that myrrh with him uh, when Jesus was in the tomb after the crucifixion, it's kind of like, yeah, they anoint the body, and there's perfume. I mean, Mary Magdalene was going on Easter morning with the intention of anointing the body, bringing spices and herbs, just nice smelling things. And this incense gives you a really nice smell to bring you into the prayer zone. So you never want to close this while the incense is going, because it's going to make the charcoal briquette go out, and your incense will have no odor. But you can see as it burns over time here, get a little focus in, you can see it bubbling, so you can see it turning black. And then eventually when it turns all black while you're praying Rosary, Chaplet of Divine Mercy, whatever prayers you're praying, if you're praying for a while, eventually the smoke is going to stop because the incense is going to stop burning. So it's your choice at that point to add another piece to it. You don't have to load it all up, or you close it down, because you cannot pick this up when you're done with it. You have to actually let this cool off for about 10 minutes, because if you try to pick up this metal, it's extremely hot, and I mean extremely hot. That's why we can't use it around the kids. My son Aiden loves the smell of incense, but I have to be right next to it when we had it going, and he would just want to get close to smell it, and I said enough is enough. He's just getting too close. He's going to get burned one time. So we wait for them to be in bed before we use it, just that way we don't have to worry about them, the kids running around touching this, and we end up in the hospital. So you can see how this is ending here. It's coming to the end almost all black with that smoke, but this looks really cool. When you do close it while it's going, it'll still smoke through the top. And then this will turn off in a couple of, the charcoal briquette goes off in a couple of minutes at this point. And then the metal here ends up cooling down. All right, it's not too hot up here, but if I were to open it up again, oof, a lot of smoke comes up right there. So just thought I'd let you know, or give you a little show, a little tutorial on incense and how it's used and why Catholics use it. So have a good evening, everybody.